Happy New Year, everyone. It's Jamie from Flame Bearers. Instead of producing a new interview this week, we wanted to take a moment to stop and reflect on some of our favorite moments from 2024. We've had a lot of really incredible conversations. We want to take the highlights of 2024, some of our favorite moments and conversations with athletes, and bring them to you. Let's jump in.
Hi guys, I'm Caster Semenya, 3 times Olympic champion, 3 times world champion over 800-meter women, and that's what I do. I'm a runner. These girls that cannot fight for themselves, that cannot voice out. So if I can be the voice for them, I go there, I fight for them, and I'll make sure that I do anything for them because I don't want them to face what I faced. It's not fair for an individual to say, I am going to discriminate one, and then you say it's necessary. It can never be necessary to discriminate one. These court cases, they can never end as long as we have not reached, and be satisfied. We will always go back.
Thank you, because we need more voices, more leaders, more powerhouse like you to drive those changes, because there are a lot that needs to be done in many disciplines across all sports for everyone.
Coming out of that trial, hopefully things better go your direction. I have all my fingers and all of my toes crossed. What is the world for women athletes everywhere that you want to see?
Women needs to be respected. Women needs to be given opportunity to decide what is right for women's sports. Organizations have been formed by men. We know women were never meant to do sports. They were never there. They were never considered anything. But all those people that are out there are men deciding what a woman should look like, how a woman should behave. It should be us, women. If women are respected, women are given opportunity, women are given equal treatment as men are, I'll be happy, then I'll give them a respect. But at the moment, it's zero. It's zero. But it goes in hand with we as women. What is it that we do for each other? Do we really respect one another? Do we really support one another? You know what I'm saying? So we gotta come clean as women, in the world of sports, to say, look, enough is enough. But if we chicken out, we will always face this, situations time and again, and the next generation will still face the same thing. It's about time we as women, we decide what is right for us, women.
Caster president.
Yes, Caster for president.
I'm still young to get into that stress.
My name is Fatoumatta Camara. So I'm a Malian boxer, but I also have a double nationality. I'm also French. So I started representing Mali on the international stage in 2019. And I've been the only female fighter from that moment at the elite level for the country. They said, we are very interested in you, because they saw me from afar for a long time. But they didn't reach out to me, but they were interested. And so they gave me the opportunity. Then I went to the African Games in Rabat, Morocco in 2019, and that's where I became the first medalist of Mali, in boxing, as a silver medalist. And after that, everything flied out, like until today, And now that I represent Mali, it's crazy because my father supports me. Is my number one fan, When I was with friends, he was like, yeah, okay, good. Now it's like, look, daughter, it's she's the best, blah blah blah.
So, what are the challenges of competing on behalf of an African nation?
The first thing people tell you is, oh, Marine, you choose Mali because it was easier, because it was, there is no competition for you. That's the first thing they do to discredit you, But the reality of this is that you have to fight much harder, because first, the country does not have money. It's an isolated country with political issues. Second, there's a lot of corruption. So how many times you do not get paid? As well in boxing, as you know, boxing is a very subjective sport. So, and Mali has no power in it. So imagine you have to fight USA or Russia or big countries. You know that you're going to lose. You can do your best, but you're always going to be on the left on the side. So That's why I say it's hard, because you have to put much more work than other people, but at the same time you get rewards, you know, like if I'm talking to you today, that's because you value me as well, because nobody's doing what I'm doing, so you get other types of rewards. So I'm privileged because I'm in between. I'm mixed also in sport. By that I mean that I have French passports, you know. So whenever I want to register to a competition, in the past they used to refuse me when they saw Mali. Some people felt, okay, it's an African country, they won't get the visa in time. If they get the visa, they will stay in our country, so we don't want them. So they refuse me. I've been refused to so many competitions, and every time I hand up my French passport, it's like, wow, let's go. She has the money, she has the financial security and the social security as well. So, and it happens all the time. I'm very privileged as an African athlete because my French passport is actually saving me and making me, allowing me, you know, to experience things that they're not able to experience. So that's why also I feel kind of pressure, because I don't want to be just the French girl who decided to go to Mali to act like a boxer, you know. I also want to show up that I deserve that and that I represent my other teammates. That's why I want to talk about that, because it's important to show up and to showcase the reality of other African athletes. It's not fair, you know.
Hi, I'm Anastasia Pagonis. I'm a Paralympic swimmer for the USA.
How did you get into swimming?
I got into swimming because my doctor recommended I need to try a less contact sport, because I was originally playing soccer, and once I got in the pool, I feel like I just became a mermaid and like fell in love with it.
When did you actually switch from soccer to swimming?
Yeah, so I switched at age 11 or 12. Soccer wasn't going well for me. And then once I got in the pool, I loved it, and it was something where I felt free, and one place where my disability didn't hold me back.
Anastasia, we've been in touch for a while. For those who are just meeting you, can you share about your disability?
Yes, so I am blind. I am in S11 classification, which is the most severe in para swimming. In that classification, we all wear completely blacked out goggles to even the playing field. I was diagnosed with a genetic disease, an autoimmune retinopathy. So basically, my immune system attacks my retina, and here we are.
Can you tell us how it is to live with that type of disability?
Yeah, definitely. So with my disability, I am basically need assistance for most things. So to walk around, I usually use a sighted guide or a cane or my guide dog Radar, who is
Radar.
Yes, you guys will have just the sweetest boy ever. And as for the pool and training, I use something called tappers, which is a pole with a pool noodle on the end of it, and two people who are trained will stand on basically each side of the pool and give me like a little tap on the head, and that's how I know I'm coming up to the wall, and then I'll do my flip turn and keep going.
It's so impressive, Anastasia, and I know a big part of what you do beyond swimming is changing how people, quote unquote, see the visually impaired, which is the best tagline ever.
I'm Bry Pige. I'm a trampoline gymnast from Great Britain, and I found out about trampolining because I guess my family's quite sporty, so I got involved in lots of different sports when I was younger. I wasn't very good at most of them. I actually had a really tough time with that level of fear when I was younger, like kind of late teens, when kind of you start to realise what you're doing is dangerous, because when you're younger, you're just like, this is cool, let's learn the next skill, that looks like fun. And then when you get older, you kind of understand what can happen and what can go wrong, and you get fearful of that. And as obviously as well as you're progressing, you tend to do harder skills, so they're a little bit more scary anyway, and there's a higher danger as you get better and learn new skills. So it's just a case of like, I basically went through a point where I could do triple somersaults and I could do multiple twisting doubles, but I got scared of my skills and myself and my ability to the point where I couldn't do a single somersault with a half twist, which is one of the first somersaults that you learn. And I wouldn't take off of that. I couldn't take off at any skill. I was really struggling, and this kind of lasted like on and off. I still sometimes have to deal with that level of fear, but the struggle was kind of on and off for 2 years where it was really severe. So during that time, I learned lots of different techniques to deal with fear and to deal with my lack of confidence or worrying about a certain skill. So like the different techniques would be just kind of, I guess, rationalizing it, understanding that my fear is heightened, and like the actual possibility of something bad happening in that moment just because I'm fearful of it is quite small. Especially when I've got the muscle memory and the understanding of how to trampoline. But I basically kind of like retaught my skills, learning what I should be seeing at what certain point. Whereas when I was younger, I just kind of did it. I just did it mostly by feel. This time I had more of an understanding of what I was doing. I retaught myself everything along with my coach and my psychologist at the time that was helping me with my confidence. Just kind of lowering that anxiety with different techniques like through breathing or like regulating heartbeat, like keeping a diary and a track of kind of getting rid of the emotional side of things. So I went to go into training session knowing that I was going to be fearful and not going to be able to do my skills, and my emotions around that were like, I felt embarrassed, I felt scared, I felt like I guess like there's an element of like low-level depression of just like you're going to go into a training session and you're going to struggle, and it doesn't make you feel very good when you can't do something that you love to do and you don't quite understand why. So I guess like dealing with that fear, you just learn that fear brings focus, and you just got to bring your brain to focus instead of on the fear and what could go wrong, on the things that are going to help you to do the skill well, and the idea of if you're going to do the skill well, how you'll feel about that.
I'm Regina Salmons. I'm a rower on the U.S. Olympic and national team. I started rowing when I was 13 years old at my high school. There definitely were periods where like maybe I like wasn't eating and like fueling properly in high school, and like I hadn't quite learned that skill set yet, but I was able to like start like undoing that, like, okay, feeling good while competing and feeling how strong my body is more important than how I actually look. And you know, that's something I still struggle with, and it's like I don't know if it's something that like as women like even like we'll ever be able to fully let go of, but I feel like for me it's like the more that I can just like give it a little bit less energy is like better for me.
That's amazing. And you're pointing out like a problem of our society, I feel, because we're always reminding, no matter what we do, if we want to become a mom, if we are athletes, if we are just women living their best lives, there is always something that is being said. So it's a great reminder.
Regina, what advice would you give for girls or boys who are listening to this?
I would say be confident and really just believe in yourself. You know, like no matter what level you're at, no matter like how deep you are into the sport, just like really giving yourself the chance and saying yes, because at the end of the day, it's about loving the sport and getting the chance to push yourself and to learn and to grow and become like that kind of, I don't want to say better version of yourself, but maybe like more evolved version of yourself, like almost like a Pokemon character. Like you kind of just like evolve into yourself, if that makes sense. Like you're just like...
Regina, I know of all the different Olympic sports out there, rowing is a little less known. Talk to us about some of the misconceptions about rowing, what you want people to know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the most basic misconception is that it's like all arms or that it's canoe or kayaking. I feel like sometimes people don't even know the difference between like rowing, canoeing, and kayaking. So rowing is the fastest of the three of the boat sports because, you know, we have more people, so that's more momentum, and we use our legs unlike canoe and kayak. So with rowing, your legs are your strongest part of your body, and we really utilize those with momentum to make the boat go fast. Rowing is also a sport like you can join later in life. Like I actually joined on the earlier side at age 13. Like a lot of girls don't start, or boys too, obviously, you know, until mid-high school, late high school, college. Like it favors hard work over talent or time. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Chell Ael. I am from Guyana and I am a table tennis Olympian. I started to realize that people have more to say when I lost, and the losing felt, you know, even worse than before, and winning just felt like more of a relief. So yeah, that I think that kind of set in recently.
And what is that like for you as the person who is actually competing. You're a human with your own thoughts and feelings and reactions too.
It's one thing when it's a complete stranger saying it, that you just kind of block it out. You kind of have to. But it's another thing when it's people who are in your fraternity or people who should kind of know better. It's one of those things where you'd be playing, you have your own struggles, you're human, you have your own things you're going through, and then to be in a match and then you've given your all, you've given it your best try, it just didn't work out for you, and then to hear, and sometimes you would hear it in passing that they would have, they don't care, they would just say it, and then sometimes they would even come up to you and berate you for losing. It takes a toll that they don't even know that it does. And then sometimes people would even critique your game, and not even the constructive way. They would just kind of come in on you saying that you've done all of these things wrong. Some people would even say, you're doing all of this training just to lose. And
oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, that's some of the things that I've had to hear these past couple of years.
Wow. So how do you deal with that?
One of the ways that I've found helps is to be secluded, to limit the people who are in your space, to limit the interactions you have with people, so that way you kind of protect your peace. That you can't. Everyone's not there for to make you feel better. Everyone's not there to be encouraging or any of those things. So you kind of have to be the one to kind of protect all of that, protect your mental health, protect your space, and you have to be really mindful of the people that you have around you. I think that's what I've been trying to do recently, because I've been caught off guard many times when I let my guard down or let people in. So for me, it's one of those things to have the people who or the people you've trusted since before all of the good things started happening. Kind of good to have those people around and kind of keep them close.
My name is Jackie de Brovich. I'm a women's foil fencer. A personal experience that was probably the hardest in my career was the Tokyo Olympics. One, they were such a unique Olympics, and that was my first one. So it didn't feel like a normal Olympics. So there was its own set of challenges that came with Tokyo. And then from a result standpoint, I had lost my bout by one touch, which is very close, 15-14 match, which was heartbreaking. And we lost in the bronze medal match as a team. So in terms of performance, it was not what I had envisioned. And I think what was the most heartbreaking part about it was I fenced so well. And it's almost like it would have been nice if I didn't fence well, or I made a ton of mistakes, and then I could look back and say, okay, well, that's what happened. But I felt so free on the fencing strip in both competitions, and to come short, it was tough. So I worked really hard with a sports psychologist after Tokyo, just to regroup, kind of find my love for the sport again and see how I wanted to proceed for the next 3 years. I think this quad was a little tougher because it was only 3 years, right? Usually that first year after the Olympics, you can relax a little bit. You may not compete at every competition, and we didn't have that luxury this time around. So it was an accelerated pace of figuring things out. But I do really credit working with a sports psychologist to helping me become a stronger fencer and stronger mentally.
My name is Claire Taggart. I live in Northern Ireland, but I compete for the United Kingdom, and my sport is boccia. So until recently, until after the Paralympics in Tokyo, men and women in boccia competed together. It was a mixed classification, but after Tokyo, it's now gone to male only, female only, and I think for me, and for other women in the sport, we really have our chance to show what we can do, show how we can compete with the best of them. So I think that's a really good thing. And obviously, being a disabled person, again, I don't know what it's like in America or any other country. It's really challenging in the UK, and that's only speaking from my experience. And I guess without boccia, I wouldn't know how to do a lot of things in my life, because whenever you're either diagnosed with a disability, you develop a disability, or you're born with a disability. There's like, and from my experience, there's no guidebook. Nobody hands you a guidebook. This is how to do this. This is how to get that. These are the people to reach out to. You have to do a kind of a lot of that legwork, pardon the pun, on your own. And with your family. So for me, meeting young people in boccia who not necessarily were going through the same life experiences as me, but had gone through life experiences of college, university, things like that, they were able to help me like see where I want to go with my life. And like that, if nothing else, boccia has given me the opportunity to be independent by providing me with the community, our great fountains of knowledge that we can rely on.
You mentioned that this came on later in life. What advice would you give to people who either were just in an accident or just starting to show symptoms?
When you have a disability, whether that be a chronic illness or a visible disability or a non-visible disability, the world is already so hard for non-disabled people. Add in a disability on top of that, and it's mind-blowingly difficult. What I would say is find your people who are going through similar-esque things as you, similar symptoms. Find your community that will help and support you when perhaps the world is fighting against you. And I guess I'm being kind of like aloof and things like that with that, but I think I've really benefited from the boccia community in general, and I would encourage anybody to get involved in sport or creative opportunities if that's what you're more interested in. But there will be people in the world who are going through something similar to you, and yeah, just try and reach out and find them is what I would say.
Hi, I'm Ariana Rambeau. I'm in San Diego right now at the training center, this beautiful building that we're in. So I started playing rugby in high school, and it's honestly like the more prepared I am, the less anxious I'll be, and that'll take more of the pressure off. So if I could just keep preparing now and like front loading my work, then I'll be less stressed once I get there, because I know that I'm prepared. I know that I put the work in. We do a lot of stuff with our sports psychologist, who's probably going to like help us mentally prepare for this, because the pressure is real.
How was the after Olympics for you? Like mentally, physically, and how were you able to recover from it?
I did sleep for like 2 days straight right after, like when I got home. But yeah, so I feel like the high was still there. Everybody was still like reaching out. Stuff was still on the news, but I had to like sleep for literally 2 days, because we're really like training. It's still work all throughout the time that we're training there. So, and the traveling too, oh my gosh. But yeah, I was definitely exhausted, and I had to get surgery like a couple weeks after. So I needed rest, and then I vacationed, and then I got surgery, and then I pretty much rest for another 6 months. So it's kind of how my process went.
The after Olympics is not something we talk enough about, but personally, after my first Olympics, I was like, what is going on? Because you go to the biggest event of your sporting career basically, and you're living the high, and then after you're like, so what am I supposed to do next? How is that gonna go? And then the pressure goes down, and you get back on earth, and you're like, okay, what's next? And it was, for me personally, it was a little harder to get back on track. So I'm very curious to see how everybody bounced back and how it affects everybody. But the sleeping part, definitely feel this one.
We're now 3 months out from Paris, which is crazy. What are your hopes for the games itself?
Well, we want to win gold. We're on track. Hopefully our next tournament, how we do will depend a lot on how we'll do in the Olympics. But my goal is just to be at my peak performance. Like, I want to be like the best rugby player that I can be at that moment, obviously. Yeah, but ultimately I want us to win gold at least top 3, whether it be gold, silver, or bronze. And I think we can do it if we just stay focused. Like, we can do it. It's just like you have to lock in and be focused. And it's hard to do that as a team because you have to make sure everyone's on the same page. So it's just hard to predict, but that's our goal.
You just mentioned you're a team sport, and I'm personally a single skater, so I don't know what it's like to handle such an event with like teammates and people that you go with.
As a team, what makes it really hard is that we have to all be on the same page. You have to make sure everyone is like okay, and we're all not going to feel good at the same time.
If you like what you're hearing, please leave us a positive review on your favorite podcasting platform or YouTube. If you want to see more behind the scenes coverage, follow us on social media. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X, whatever platform you're on, we're there too. Thanks, and we'll catch you on our next episode.